So I give you a relief from looking at my face, you know. Figure concrete or asphalt. Anything's better than looking at me. Part 3. This one might be a little shorter than the last two. Why it's impossible for humans, as a group, not individuals, and arguably individuals, why it's impossible for them to be atheists, right? Now, when I'm speaking about atheist, I mean the modern definition, which is not the modern phenomenon, which is not just the simple definition of I don't believe in a God, you know, that thing. I'm talking about materialistic, atheistic, you know, the idea that there is no spiritual world of any kind. There is no otherness to the world. Maybe it was a bad idea to film this while cars were going on, but whatever. If you look at Europe and the Middle East and even North Africa at a time, the people revered oak groves. Again, you can call this pagan, except it's also for the Christians and Jews that are listening. It's also in the Old Testament that the Hebrews or Israelites revered oak groves. Why that is, I don't know. I bet there's a bunch of anthropologists and archaeologists that have a bunch of good ideas. But for some reason, the people who lived in the ancient Middle East and ancient Europe revered oak groves, especially the Celts. But I'm not an ancient anything, so I'm not one of those people, so I don't know. It's not the only the idea of an afterlife that pretty much universal. It's also the otherness and the idea of a sacred place and these ideas of holidays. Now, don't get me wrong. The secular world has tried to mimic this, no doubt. Various kings tried to make their birthday special or Day of Conquest special, and modern governments have, their Independence Day. You got September 16th for Mexico. You've got the 4th of July for America, and yeah, it's September 16th. It's not the 5th of May. It's not Cinco de Mayo. It's September 16th for Mexico. Although Cinco de Mayo is when they beat the French. That's another secular holiday. Do you know why that is with Mexico? Why they have these holidays? Is because the modern Mexican state outlawed religion, particularly Catholicism. And it was really harsh for like 3 years there. And then after about 15, it lightened up. From about 1920 to 1945, if you showed signs of believing in God, they'd put you up against a wall and shoot you. Or not even bother to put you up against a wall, just shoot you. And yet, Americans look at Mexicans as extremely religious. Because, yeah, a lot of them did die and were killed or had to pray in secret. But it goes hand in hand with being human, having a cyclical life to live. Not just because there's seasons, because there's parts of the planet where they don't have necessarily seasons, as we would think about. And they don't even have a rainy season. I mean, there's parts of the world in Ecuador and in Congo where it's just known as the rainy strip around the equator. And then you go out from there, and they kind of have seasons. They basically have two seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. And then only when you get up north or extremely south do you get the area where I live in, where you have 4 distinct seasons. But there's always an otherness. People say, oh, they were so close to nature and they worship nature. No, they didn't. But they realized that the world, the otherness of the world, came from, or can speak through, the forces of nature. That's what they believed. But the idea, oh, they worship nature. Or an animist and a polytheist are different. A polytheist maybe is a more concentrated or more developed or more refined, or you could say, or if you look at it in a bad way, a castrated form of an animist. But to all these people, there was an otherness, something more behind things. And it's not magic, but also people do have an a need. There's a need to have something sacred as well as dogma. It's a need in people. This is why when you spread atheism, you get the social justice warriors. They came out of the new atheist movement, being personally offended that somebody is a Christian. They're personally offended that you believe in God. And they're going to tell you all about this, how they don't like God, and this and that. That's the social justice warriors. You believe Christ died on the cross? Then you're a white supremacist. Well, I'm not white. Well, it doesn't matter. You have internalized racism. Okay, this is a white American girl telling me this. Well, you're sexist too, because you're a Christian. Okay, but I'm a woman. Well, you have internalized misogyny. Really, I helped, write this law in this Islamic or Eastern European country that gave women more rights. That's even worse, because you're a cultural appropriating. I mean, they grab at every argument. And I think it's poetic justice that Richard Dawkins is getting a lot of heat from the SJWs, because it was his type of nastiness and pettiness and just being a shitty human being that led to the rise of these people. I love the fact that you'll have a Black Lives Matter march and they're all white, rich white college kids, or even 45-year-old white professors. And they're screaming about, kill the white man. Yet they themselves are the whitest people on earth. But yeah, it's a shorter video, less thought out, but at least you didn't have to look at me. So that's the end of part 3, and I'll get into the other part. But this is just part of it. There's going to be, I don't know, I'll probably go to part 7. Peace to you.